Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today on this beautiful sunny day that we've got here. And we're going to take you on a lovely journey down the Danube. Just before we start, just to let you know that we are obviously live and we're working from home. So should we have any technical issues, then please do bear with us whilst we sort those out. So fingers crossed, so far we haven't. So we should hopefully have a good run on this. To let you know that you are all muted at the moment, and that's just to mitigate against any possible background noise, but there will be opportunities at the end to ask us questions, so please feel free to. There's a chat function that you'll see and you can chat away and ask questions to us. Also at the end of the presentation there's a little hand symbol. You can raise your hand, and if you want to be taken off mute to be talking live with us, then you'll have that opportunity as well. So sit back and enjoy. I'm just going to pass you over to Barry Allaway from GoCruise, and he's just going to have a little chat with you before we start the presentation. Over to you, Barry.
Yeah, thank you. And I just wanted to say welcome to the first joint webinar that we run exclusively with Rachel and Nicki of the AMA team. So it's great to have you all here, and I'll see you at the end of the webinar and leave you in their very capable hands.
Thanks, Barry. That's great. So alongside myself, I'm Rachel Simon. I'm one of the business development managers for AmaWaterways. I have my lovely colleague, Nicki Drinkwater, and Nicki is one of our cruise managers. He's currently living up in Manchester, but he normally resides over in Madrid. Lucky man. Missing that nice weather, I guess, Nicki. He's been with us as a cruise manager for 4 years, and he has a real interest in wine. So Nicki's been on many of our wine cruises. So it's a great opportunity for any of you that are maybe wine enthusiasts to be able to ask some questions at the end to Nicki, and he'll be very happy to answer any questions that you might have. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about who AmaWaterways are, a little introduction. I'm going to give you a quick whiz around the ships, a little tour. Before I pass over to Nicki, who's going to take you on that lovely journey, we're going to focus on the Danube as one of our sort of top selling itineraries. And then there'll be an opportunity to find out a little bit about some offers at the end and ask us any questions, and Barry will be back on as well. So sit back, grab your coffee and enjoy your journey. So a little bit about us. We are a family-owned company. We celebrated our 18th birthday last year. We were founded in 2002 by 3 lovely families. We've got Christine, Rudy and Gary. They're all based out in Calabasas in the States, and they're very much involved within our organisation on a daily basis, and it's a really lovely family feel to work for this company. And that also, whilst you're on board, you'll be treated as like you're in one of our family members as well. So it's a really lovely, relaxed, chilled atmosphere on board our ships. I'm going to show you a very, very quick video. It's only a couple of seconds long, but I like to show this because it just gives a real nice feel and taste for what our brand's all about. And if you do want a copy of this, then Barry can send it to you. So I always want to make go when I see that video. And poor Nicki hasn't been cruising for a year, so I bet you're desperate to get on board as well, Nicki, back on board and doing the job that you love. So we're on to the Berlitz Guide. As you'll probably be familiar with, when we've been on our holidays, we quite often buy these little Berlitz Guides to tell us where to go and, you know, all the tourist destinations and give us a few tips on the language. Berlitz also produced an ocean cruise guide and a river cruise guide. And what they do here is rate all the ships within Europe, and there are over 300 ships within Europe and the States on the rivers. And we are really, really proud to have the highest rated ships in Europe. So a gentleman called Doug Ward goes onto every one of them. He's got a fantastic job. He looks at the food, he looks at the facilities, he looks at the staff and you know, the shore excursions and all the inclusions, and he rates them. And we've got, out of the top 10, we've got 6 in the top 10. We actually hold the #1 slot with the Ama Christina, named after our own Christina, and we've actually got the top 3 slots. So that's something we're really, really proud of. And it's great that that's independently rated as well, just to put into perspective about our fabulous brand. We're a 5-star luxury cruise line, and we've got 25 ships. We own them all, bar one. There's one out in Africa, the Zambezi Queen, which we charter. And I think that's quite important in today's time to know that we owe them. We don't have any debt on them. And so that's something that's quite reassuring as well. So we've arrived at the airport. We've had our transfer and we're now in Budapest and we're getting on board the ship. So this is what you'd expect on a typical AmaWaterways ship. This is the lobby area. So like a floating boutique hotel, you go to your reception, you check in, you get your little card for your stateroom. You're escorted to the stateroom. One of the staff will actually show you around and show you the facilities, and then your bags will be taken round. So this is your opportunity to have a look around the ship and familiarise yourself with the ship area. You can see there we've got the lift, which goes to most of the decks, and this is where if you have a few mobility issues, it's worth just having a chat with Barry to make sure that you're on the right ship and the right itineraries that are going to suit your ability. Because the lifts on some of the ships don't go to all of the floors if you're reliant on that to get around. Also where Nicki would sit is at the top there. You can see the desk at the top of the stairs. That's where our cruise managers sit, so you can go and book your excursions or get some advice or information, and they're always happy to help as well. Then we're going to go upstairs into the lounge area. So this is kind of like the hub of the ship, really. This is where a lot of the entertainment happens of an evening. This is where you can go and chill and have a cup of coffee, have a glass of wine, just sit and admire the wonderful scenery. You can just see on the shop there that there's floor to ceiling windows, so you can have a look at. And obviously river cruise, and you're traveling through the heart of countries. You're seeing the most spectacular scenery. It's all part of the enjoyment of your holiday. Unlike when you're on the oceans, you might just be seeing, you know, the water. You actually see some fabulous sights as you go through the rivers. So at lunchtime, we have some light lunches served in this area. On the evening time, we have a cocktail pre-dinner served there. We have our entertainment, and that might be some local singers coming on board. It might be we have a guest lecturer in the day. We have a resident pianist that also turns into a little DJ, so you can shake your moves of an evening if you want to. So yeah, it's kind of the heart of the ship here, where lots of things go on. Just really nice to relax, chill, and meet other like-minded folks. Most of the ships we have a library as well, so this is just behind that lounge area. So if you want to have a little bit of quiet time, read a book, we also have some newspapers there as well in different languages, so you can catch up with what's happening at home. Then we're moving on to the staterooms. The one in front of you here is one of our twin balcony staterooms. So this is quite unique. It has a French balcony on the right-hand side. That's a floor-to-ceiling window which opens up, lets you fresh air in, but you can't step out there. But on the left-hand side, you can step out and you've got a little table and chairs, and you know, have a coffee out there in the morning, or have a glass of champers in the evening. I love it when the first thing in the morning, when the river's just waking up, if you grab yourself a coffee, which is complimentary, by the way, complimentary tea and coffee throughout your sailing. Sit on the balcony and you just watch the world waking up. You can see all the mist sort of swirling around the rivers, and the swans going by, and the lights start to twinkle on the banks as the world wakes up. So I think that's quite a magical, special moment to start your day off. Other than the twin balconies, starting from the grassroots upwards, we have category E's and D's, and these are fixed windows. So the facilities inside are the same. It's all about a little bit more space, and obviously as we go up through the categories into the suite, you get a lot more space, and you get bathtubs in the bathroom. But the categories D's and E's have fixed windows, so there's two large windows, and they are above the river line, so that's one of the questions we actually get asked. Then we move on to the French balconies, where you have that floor to ceiling window that you can open up, and then the twin balconies, then you go on into the suites. You'll also find in the stateroom that you've got a television, and you can download the latest movies there complimentary. You can also stream in some music, and you can use them for the internet, and we have free Wi-Fi on board the ships. We actually spend more on Wi-Fi than we do on fuel, so that puts into context how important it is for lots of us to keep in touch with home and keep in touch with the outside world still whilst we're on holiday. We have safes here, so you can keep any valuables in there. There's a fridge that you can store, water in there. We put complimentary water every day into your stateroom. Get a little table and chair area. Plenty of wardrobe space. One of the things that I really liked, and it struck me when I got on board for the first time, were the nice little touches. So there's a little alarm clock by your bed. there's some hand cream, and then in the wardrobe you get an umbrella just in case it rains. So I think those are really nice little touches there that we have. And then onto the bathroom, so you can see there's plenty of space, a shower for the lower categories. As you move up through the suite, you get a bathtub. We provide you with complimentary bathrobe and also slippers. And then you get Elemis Spa, so the shampoos and body gels as well. Those are all provided complimentary. But you can see there's a very nice luxurious feel to both the staterooms and the bathrooms. There's another image there of one of the other ones, so you can see from a different angle. And now we're onto the dining, because as we all know, when we go on cruising, food's very important to us all, and it's a great part of any holiday, but particularly when you're on a cruise ship. So we are members of Le Champ de Rôtisseur, and this is a French gastronomic food society. Every ship takes part, every ship's a member, it's by invitation only, and every year they have to renew that membership and just make sure that they are up to the right standards. So we have on board all the ships once a week one of these evenings, which is a full-blown Le Champ de Rôtisseur evening, where the wine's paired with the food. It's just fabulous. I always like to mention that as well as all the fancy food, you can get everything. So if you want burgers and chips, that's available. If you want a pizza, a stir fry, some nice fish, you know, there's pretty much everything available. And we cater for most diets. If you do have a dietary requirement, vegetarian, lactose intolerant, gluten-free, for instance, just speak to Barry when you make your reservation. He will pass that information down to us. It goes through to the ship so they can prepare for you. All the food's brought on fresh every day, and it's cooked from scratch. So we make sure that, you know, you're well catered for. And when you get on board, the staff will also sit down with you and go through some menu options just to make sure you get well looked after. I am vegetarian, and when I was on board, the choice was just amazing. And you know, that one of the staff came to me one day, so we've got this lovely vegetarian burger for you, and they've been so thoughtful putting that together. The food's just amazing. You won't be disappointed. So this is the main dining room on board, where breakfast is served, lunch is served, and evening dinner is served as well. And we have traditionally in the past done some sort of buffet style, so where you can go and have, you know, for breakfast and lunch, you can actually help yourself. So with the COVID situation, we've changed a few things. So there's going to be less buffet on board. There will be some stations for food, but most of it's going to be actually served to you. And we've always done a 5-course menu in the evening time. So there are some changes there. And we've also introduced new for when we start to sail some in-room service. So you can have stateroom, in your stateroom you can have food, which we've never done that before. So there's some dining available, so you can sit on the balcony and enjoy dinner if you wish to. So that's a new option available for you. In terms of dining, we don't have a fixed dining time. It does depend on the itinerary. Typically it's around 7 o'clock when the restaurants open, and then we say just come down between 7 and 8:30, so you get to choose your time. Most people generally come down at 7 o'clock. And the other question we get asked a lot is, are there any tables for 2? We can probably just about make out here there are usually tables for 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. But there's no problem if you just want to dine on your own. Just tell the staff. The staff are amazing. The crew really look after you and make your holiday really special. So just mention that to them, and they will just take the 2 settings away. So yes, you can have dining for the 2 of you. And then on most of our ships, we have the chef's table. This is a spectacular little restaurant, takes 28 guests. It's a 7-course taster menu, and it's just a really lovely evening. You can probably see from the image there, there's lots of wine glasses. And the reason for that is every course that you have, it's paired with different wines, all the way through to your dessert wines at the end. And it's tasted, so the portions are, you know, they're not huge, but by the time you've had 7, believe me, you are very well looked after, very well fed, and there's no room for anything else. And this is complimentary, so everybody gets to go in this restaurant once during their cruise. You do have to book a slot, so you book which night you want to go on. If the ship was a little bit quieter and had space, you can always ask to go in there again, and if we can accommodate you, we will. You can also see, you can't see it on this image here, but there's some screens, you can actually see the chefs preparing the fantastic food. So drinks are on us. Well, we have a welcome cocktail when you get on board, which is complimentary. and that's a good opportunity for you to mingle and meet other guests on board as well. We also do every night before dinner, we have a sip and sail cocktail evening, so that's an hour before dinner, and that's complimentary. And then we serve complimentary drinks with your lunch and your evening dinner. And then during the day, complimentary bottled water, and there's 24-hour tea and coffee station available as well. So I'm going to now move us up to the sun deck. Excuse me. And this is right at the top of the ship. And this is the most special area because you get to take in the fantastic views. So you can swim in the pool here. You can probably just make out just at the end there, we've got a bar, so you can get a glass of wine and just relax in the pool and watch the fantastic scenery go by. Also on the top deck, there's plenty of seating areas there. You can order a drink. In the winter time, if it's a little bit cold, we have blankets that we can provide you as well, so you can have a hot chocolate and watch the fabulous scenery go by. And the other thing that happens on this sun deck is we have a wellness program on most of the ships. So there are up to 7 classes a day. You can start your morning with champagne yoga, have a nice stretch class in the afternoon. You have to book them because the spaces are limited. If the weather's fantastic, you can have those programs on the top deck. If not, they'll be inside in either the lounge or the gym area. Our wellness host will look after you. He or she will take you around the gym equipment and show you that if you want guidance there, and they will also offer nutritional advice. So this is all complimentary for those of you who want to take part. We are, as a brand, quite active, but we appreciate not everybody wants to do this and maybe just wants to relax. So that's fine. There is definitely something for everyone on our brand. So here we have the fitness room. Complimentary, free to use this gym equipment as you wish. And I'm just going to tell you now, along with my colleague Nicki, a little bit about a really special ship we have. Nicki's going to take you on a journey down the Danube. We've got the AmaMagna, which was built and launched in 2019. One of our owners, Rudy, an incredibly bright man. He was an architect by trade originally, and he wanted to design a ship that would appeal to those clients who have probably gone on an ocean cruise but never river cruise, perhaps thought about it. So he designed this ship, which was double the width of our normal ship. So our average ships take around about 156 passengers on average. This one takes 196 passengers. So although he made it a lot more spacious, he only put on, another 40 guests allowed on here, and it's just incredible. We're going to just show you some of the images here. Nicki, we've got 4 restaurants on board. Have you got a favourite?
Oh, I mean, they're all amazing, and it's the beauty of the AmaMagna is that it's so spacious because they didn't put extra rooms to kind of put as many people as possible. We really increased the facilities on board. So I don't know, my favorite probably Jimmy's Wine Bar and Restaurant, which was named after one of the founding fathers of our company. And it's just a very casual, relaxed kind of wine bar style place to go and eat or have some wine. So that's probably my favorite.
I really love Jimmy's as well. So the image here is the main restaurant. And there are actually booths for 2 on here for those of you who are interested. So this is the exception where we do have booths for 2. There's another shot of it there as well. We've got a chef's table on it, slightly bigger. Again, bookable. Same principle as described before, and here's Jimmy's. So I agree with you, I love Jimmy's as well. This is very much like a wine bar atmosphere. We've traditionally done service of platters here when everyone just sort of helps themselves. That will change because of COVID moving forward. It will be a sit-down full service restaurant, but yeah, I really like Jimmy's as well. And the other one that I like is the al fresco, because this is slightly different. It's at the back of the ship. All the glass panels open up and the roof comes off. So if it's a really fabulous day, you feel like you're eating outside. So yeah, I really enjoy having that choice. So this ship's great for families, isn't it? If you're travelling intergenerationally, because it's got lots of interconnecting staterooms, and also if you've got some youngsters on, having a choice of restaurants. And we've also got a cinema on board that you can see here, and we've got some like PlayStations that youngsters can play with. More space on the wellness area. And this is wonderful, isn't it, when you're at the back of the ship and you can do spinning classes, feel like you're pedaling the ship to get it moving. So yeah, so it's lots more to do on the ship. And in terms of the staterooms, they're exactly the same as what I've described previously, but there's more of them. So the categories D's and E's leading at 210 square foot. You can see a balcony suite here at 355 and up to the owner's suites of 710 square feet. So, you know, there's lots of options, more twin balcony staterooms available as well. So you can see one of the suites there, fantastic views out onto the river. And our owners, Rudy and Christine, were in this suite last year. We were on, was it last year? Yeah, I get confused with the years. Last year we were on a conference. Every year merges into one at the moment, doesn't it? We were on, were you on that conference as well, Nicki? And on the AmaMagna?
Yeah.
Last year? Yeah, and our owners said they were in the suite, so that if you want to come and have a look round, do come and have a look round. So they left the door open for all the staff to look, and it was just incredible to see that fabulous owner's suite. So I mentioned we're quite an active brand. We include up to 4 excursions in every port that we go to, but we appreciate not everybody's as active, and Nicki's going to run you through some of our lovely excursions. So bear in mind there's something for everybody. Those are included. You can pre-book them when you've done booked your cruise. You can change your mind. You can go on board and see the cruise manager. If you've booked and you met people on board and you want to go on a different excursion, absolutely change your mind. You know that there is complete flexibility. We have about 20 guests normally on a typical excursion. However, with the COVID restrictions in place, if the local restrictions, you can only have 10, we will have 10. You know, we will take that guidance. And also we have these quiet boxes. So these are the headphones with the boxes. You speak, you can hear your guide. So again, most of them are outdoorsy. You've got plenty of social distances going on as well with your active adventures. I'm just going to sum now what's included when you book a cruise with us. Well, we include obviously all the dining and the chef's table, all of the wine, beer and soft drinks at lunchtime and in the evening. And just to let you know, when I was on board, I looked at the cost of the drinks because that's another question people ask us. So an orange juice is about €4, sorry, €2.50. A beer started at €4 and wines were about €5–6. So it's very affordable. That kind of price you'd pay in a wine bar. Or you know, a local pub or restaurant. And we include your tea, coffee and bottled water 24 hours a day. There's coffee stations, you help yourself. You get your sip and sell cocktail hour. You get the Wi-Fi and your movie channels included. You've got the wellness program for those who want to take part, and then all of your shore excursions are included as well. These are some of the destinations we're going we go to. So Nicki's going to take you down the Danube, but just to let you know that we also cover off the lovely areas of the Douro in Spain and Portugal. So fantastic if you're into the port wine, and you might want to tie those up with going to Madrid or Lisbon. We do the rivers of France. So this is great if you are not so keen on flying and you want to get a train. You can get trains into Paris and do the Seine and go down to the Normandy beaches and take in Monet's gardens and obviously the lovely capital of Paris. We also do the Netherlands. So again, great for the train into Amsterdam. If you want the tulip time, there's also Floriade next year in 2022. That's a big exhibition which takes place only every 10 years. That's about 28 kilometres outside of Amsterdam in a place called Aalsmeer. And we include that on some of our Rhine itineraries and the Netherlands itineraries as well. So if that's something that you're interested in, it's a bit like Hampton Court and Chelsea all rolled into one on a much, much bigger scale. We then do all the rivers through Europe, so the Main, the Rhine, the Rhone, the Danube, the Upper Danube and the Lower Danube. There's so much to choose from. The Rhine and the Danube are our real top sellers, followed by the Douro, which is really, really popular. And then further afield, we do the Mekong, Vietnam and Cambodia. And again, that's a 7-night cruise. It's a long way to go, so we tie that with Ho Chi Minh City, Hanoi, Siem Reap. You can do extensions in Bangkok as well. We go to Africa. So this is the ship which we charter, the only one we don't own. That's a 4-night cruise on the Chobe, a real amazing experience because you do some game drives as well, and you get on a smaller boat which takes you near close to the wildlife. Long way to go for 4 nights, so we obviously tie that with Cape Town and Vic Falls, but you've got options to go down to the Kruger, which I really recommend. Having done that's wonderful. You can go also to Tanzania, you can go gorilla trekking in Rwanda, you can go on the Great West Rail, loads of options. And then finally, We've got an Egypt program which starts in September down the Nile, but we do 3 nights pre in Egypt in Cairo. You'll see Tutankhamun's museum, you'll go to the pyramids of Giza, go around the old town of Cairo, have a dinner at the palace, amazing itinerary. You'll take your flight and then get on the beautiful AmaWaterways, which takes 68 guests down the Nile. Optional trips to Abu Simbel. You'll see all of the temples and all the have all the experiences you would expect to have. There will be 2 Egyptologists on board, and then when you come back, you've got an extra night in Cairo before you fly home, or you can extend in Israel, Jordan, or Dubai. So obviously we haven't got time to go into all of these other fantastic itineraries today, but Barry has all the information on those. Please get in touch with him if you want to have any more information. I'm now going to hand over to my lovely colleague Nicki, who's going to take you on a journey down the Danube, and then there'll be opportunities at the end to ask any questions that you may wish to ask. So
Okay, thank you, Rachel. So happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. Yeah, so my name is Nicki. I'm originally from Manchester, but I've been living in Spain for the last 10 years, where I've been studying wine. And I work on most rivers in Europe with AmaWaterways, aside from the lower Danube, which is on my bucket list to do. But today we want to talk about the melodies of the Danube, which Barry chose for us. And basically, the melodies of the Danube is from Budapest, as you can see there, all the way to Vilshofen. So it's an amazing itinerary, a great way to explore this part of Europe. And like I said, we're beginning in Budapest, where we will be joining the ship, and we will be getting together, meeting, and joining to do a cocktail. So as you can see in the next slide, you will see the captain, you see the hotel manager, and my colleague. And the idea of the welcome aboard days, we have a briefing, you get to meet everybody on board, and we just get to talk about the exciting journey we have ahead. So we'll be staying overnight in Budapest. So we'll start our excursions the next day. So we'll have our walking tour. And with all our walking tours, we have different levels of pace. So for example, we would have a gentle pace, and this is more geared towards people. Maybe you're carrying an old sports injury, you're a keen photographer, and you want to take it really slow. So we really gear these gentle walking excursions just to really kind of maybe go a shorter route and just really go take our time with it. We have our regular walking, and sometimes we have an active as well. So maybe you want to kind of burn off a little bit of the dinner from the night before. So we have an active, so maybe you do a longer route, a bit of a quicker pace. Also, with all our excursions and each day, we have different options to be active. Like Rachel said before, we are a very active company. So we have, specifically in Budapest, we have a castle hill hike. So you'll be hiking up to the top of the city, getting beautiful views over the city. And obviously our walking tour, the Queen of the Danube tour, will be more relaxed, going by bus a little bit more. So we'll always have those options of the walking, different paces, and of course with some active like bike tours and hikes. The following day, we'll be leaving Hungary and we'll be going over to Slovakia. So we'll be going to the capital, Bratislava. And Bratislava, for me, I always get the same kind of comments from people. It's such a surprise. You know, people think about going to Vienna or going to Madrid, Paris, you know, these kind of iconic cities. But Bratislava is a very small capital, but absolutely stunning. People are always surprised how beautiful this is. So we have our walking tour with the different paces where we'll get to explore the city, the history, and the culture. We'll have a taste of Bavaria, taste of Bratislava, which I love these kind of excursions where you'll go with a local guide and you'll get to taste. You'll get to learn about the history and the culture, but you'll really taste the culture here. So you get to have some smoked cheeses, some smoked meats, some local artisan beers, really amazing. And for the active in Bratislava, we do a castle hike. So we'll be leaving the ship, going up to the top to the castle and getting to see the whole of Bratislava from above. Again, we'll be waking up and heading off to a new country. So we'll be going to Austria and the capital of the Grand Vienna, a truly spectacular city. One of my favorite places because, you know, Vienna obviously is very famous in Austria for the Habsburgs, the famous empire of the Habsburgs that stretched all over Europe. So being in Madrid, having all that Habsburg architecture, of course, is there in Vienna with the amazing Spanish riding school as well. It's truly an incredible city. So in the morning, we have either a walking tour or a biking tour. So we have these two options to explore the city, to explore the culture, the history, and of course, maybe some of you have been to Vienna before. We also have the option for free time. You know, so we have our excursions, but we're always docking in either great capitals or we're docking just in small towns. There's always the option to go off and explore on your own, not an issue at all. And so that is Vienna. So we have a great morning plan there. Then we'll be continuing in Austria and we'll be going through the Strudengau Valley. Truly, truly beautiful place. And we'll be docking in Weiskirchen, which is, just as you can see here, a quaint little village in the valley. And from here, we use it as our port to go and explore the area. So we have our Dürnstein walking tour and Melk Abbey visit. We will have an apricot tasting. So this is incredible. So apricots are, it's like they're protected in the area. So it's like a protected designation of origin. So they're, we would call it in English, they're called American plum apricots. So what they do is they make all kinds of different sweets, chocolate covered apricots, schnapps, different types of liqueurs. So you have a sweet tooth. It's truly a decadent experience. And we also do a bike tour along the valley as well. So it's a great way to explore the valley, the vineyards, the quaint towns by bike, or they would be by walking. So as I mentioned, we were going to Dürnstein for the walking tour. As you can see here with the iconic blue and white buildings, it's an amazing, incredibly beautiful place, which has some fun history. So it had a very famous visitor for a while. However, it was a visitor against his will. It was Richard the Lionheart. So after the Crusades, he was imprisoned in Dürnstein for around about a year. And after this excursions, when we get to explore Dürnstein, we head over to Melk Abbey. There we are, and it's breathtaking. So you have the beautiful cathedral inside. But definitely the highlight, at least for me, is the library. It is just incredibly breathtaking. And then we'll be heading over there. You can see the picture of, here we go, the Strudengau Valley. So this is where we'll be doing the bike tour, so around this kind of area, the apricot tasting, and also in the evening, we'll be going for a exclusive to AmaWaterways castle visit in the Gain Castle, which we can see now. There we are. So the Grand Castle is a medieval castle. It's about 500 years old and is completely restored to its former glory. So we get to explore that, learn about the history. And as you can see, and maybe to the right there, you see vineyards. So the whole Strudengau Valley is basically a lot of vineyards. And there are actually vineyards in the castle grounds. So of course, they are making their own wines, which we will have a private reception at the end of the excursion, which is a great treat for everybody. Then the next day, we will be still in Austria, but we will be docking in Linz. And this is a UNESCO City of Media Arts city. And it's for me, it's a wonderful city where you can see the contrast between modern architecture and of course that kind of a Habsburg kind of classic architecture, and it's going to be a great mix in the city. And we'll get to explore this either on foot or by bike. And so it's a great city, and the last time I was there actually was on a Christmas market, and it was amazing. So that was one of my last cruise I did in 2019. So I was in Linz, and so that's the morning covered. We get to explore Linz, but in the afternoon is probably the most difficult decision you'll make on the cruise, because we have two incredible choices for you. So we have, first of all, so if you see the next slide, you'll get to see Linz. You'll see the next slide. Yep, there's Linz. So you can see the modern architecture in the previous slide, and in this one you see the classic architecture. So in the afternoon from Linz, like I said, it's a tough decision, because we either have Salzburg in Austria, which have amazing castles, architecture, beautiful gardens that were made famous by the very popular film The Sound of Music. So I'm sure that many of you have seen that. So we have this option, or we can go to a different country, so the Czech Republic, to Český Krumlov, which is so beautiful. I mean, as towns go, if you think about the whole of Europe, it's probably one of the most beautiful, incredible. So it's always a tough choice. People are always asking, should I go to Salzburg? Should I go to Český Krumlov? I don't know. It's a good problem to have, because you get to see these, one of the two amazing places we have. Then the next day, we'll be leaving Austria and we'll be heading into Bavaria. So here you can see this is a town of the city of Passau, and it's called the City of Three Rivers. So you can see the confluence there. You have the Danube, which is in the middle. You have the Inn River, which is going to the left, and the Ilz, which is the river kind of curling up to the right. And in Passau, we have the chance to explore it three different ways, either through our walking tour, where, as you can see, actually, if you look at the Danube, the central river, up on the right is where we'll dock. So you'll get to explore all the city on foot, or we have a hike where we can hike up to the castle in the top right, or we take the bikes along the river Inn on the left. So it's a great city to explore. And the next day we will be heading to Vilshofen, which is our last port of call. However, we do end in style. So when we arrived to Vilshofen, which is exclusive to us, AmaWaterways built the dock there, and we have a very special relationship with them. So when we do arrive, we have an exclusive Oktoberfest. But the Oktoberfest can be all year round. So we have the local beer queen, the local band. They all come dressed in their lederhosen and their drindles, and they play music, we dance, we drink beers, we eat pretzels. So maybe some of you already have your lederhosen or drindles, bring them with you, or maybe you pick something up on the way. But it's a great fun way to experience the end of the cruise, shall we say. We celebrate and we really enjoy Bavaria. Then, of course, we don't end there for everybody, because we do have the option to do a optional excursion. So actually every cruise that we do, we have the option to either do a pre or a post or both. So for the Melodies of the Danube, we do actually offer a pre, which is just 2 extra nights in Budapest. So you'd arrive a little bit earlier than when we start cruising, and you would actually meet either myself or one of my colleagues, and we'd be with you all the way. So we would have a couple of days in Budapest together. We would cruise to Vilshofen, and then together with your cruise manager, we would go on to the next excursion. So that would be, for example, for the Melodies, it would be Prague. And we'd spend 3 nights in Prague where we get to explore. So we do a walking tour where we get to learn about the history, the culture of the city. We offer an excursion out to Terezin, which is a concentration camp, very emotive. But it's an incredible tour, very, very emotive, as you can imagine. And we also do a folklore dinner. So we go out to a local Czech beer house, and we have the locals dancing. They're giving a show. We get to eat and drink local specialities, and it's just a great fun time to have. And like I said, that is with the cruise manager. So we don't just stay on the same ship. We move from river to river all the time. So if you have the optional at the beginning, like the pre-optional, or the excursion at the end, your cruise manager would be with you the whole way. And obviously now things are changing a little bit, and Rachel would like to explain a bit about how we have implemented some new safety measures due to recent occurrences.
Thanks, Nicki. That's great. That's really insightful for you to take us on that fabulous journey. Don't we all wish we were there now? Yes, obviously the world's changed. We've had to change with the world. We didn't cruise, or we haven't cruised properly for a year. We did, however, last summer have some charters for the specific down the Rhine, just for the German market, 5-day cruises, and we had to implement some different procedures, and we've taken these procedures forward when we actually start to cruise. So this is just to give you a little idea of what we're doing. We also have a section which is regularly updated on our website if you want to keep up to date with these protocols, and Barry will also be able to update you. So we asked our wonderful crew to wear face coverings whilst they were working, as you can see from the photograph here. And then our guests only had to wear them when they were moving around the ship, so i.e. from the lounge area to the stateroom. We have put some perspex screens up in the lounge areas, but we're trying to keep everything, you know, so you've got full holiday enjoyment. We've covered off exploring ashore, so we've got lots of smaller numbers, socially distant, and we've got those quiet boxes. Everybody's temperature check, that's crew and guests when they get on board, and there is a questionnaire to fill in as well. Obviously we adhere to all the social distancing. Another one which is quite good is we have some very sophisticated air conditioning units on board, and rather than circulating it around the whole of the ship, we actually have individual ones in the stateroom, so the air's not pumped around like in some places you might go to. And then finally, the hand luggage is sanitised, so we sanitise that when we bring it on board. And outside the restaurants and various points around the ship, there is hand sanitizer available as well. So we are completely on top of, you know, keeping everybody safe whilst they're travelling with us. But if you do want further information, have a look at our website. There's a little video from one of our owners, Christine, as well. So we're coming to the end of our experience, and thank you so much for joining us today. As a little thank you for those that have joined us, we're going to give an extra discount. So if anybody does make a booking within the next 2 weeks from today, you'll get an additional £150 off per couple, or £75 if you're a single traveller. And if you book a suite, that'll be a £300 off. That's exclusive to be booking through Barry. And we do have so many offers on. It'll just take me ages to rattle through them, really. We are on sale this year, we are on sale for 2022, and we are on sale for 2023 as well. So we have lots of different offers on. We've got some free land options. So Nicki mentioned that you can take cruises with us, and on most of the cruises that you can have a pre and post, so you can extend your holiday either side. We've got some free accommodation on certain cruises that are travelling, so Barry will give you information about those. We've got free air and transfers on some other cruises. We've got 2 for 1 on land in the Mekong. So there are different options. The best thing to do is either give Barry a call or drop in an email, and he'll talk you through the best options. So we've now got the opportunity, whilst we're all here, to ask us any questions that you might wish to ask us. So the way to do that is there's a little chat function. Please type a question in that chat function you can ask us. There's a little hand as well. Press the hand symbol, and that will raise and make me aware that you want to ask a question. We can take off mic. Do completely understand that some people may not think of something now or feel uncomfortable, so don't worry. You can always get in touch with Barry afterwards, and we can answer those questions. So I had a couple of questions come in. One of them was, Nicki, perhaps you can answer this one for us. What do you actually wear on board? So I think this is obviously when you go on an ocean cruise, lots of people are dressing up with the black ties and that. Do we have that kind of dress code on board? What do people typically wear when they're on board?
Yeah, typically it's a smart casual, you know, so gents will be in a shirt. I mean, you don't have to have black tie or anything like that. We do have our gala dinner, so the special captain gala dinner, where people tend to dress up a bit more, but that would just be for one night, maybe 2. The first night, the last night, you dress up a little bit, but generally it's kind of country club smart casual. And of course, during the days when you're on your excursions, the most comfortable clothes you have. But yeah, it's very much kind of country club smart casual.
Yeah, I know that I noticed when people went to the chef's table, they tended to dress a bit smart, but otherwise it was, like you say, just quite smart casual, isn't it? Somebody's asked us, have you got a favourite itinerary?
Put me on the spot.
It's like that's like asking your favourite child, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I mean, because like I mentioned before, I do move around, you know. So maybe, for example, if I were doing the Melodies of the Danube, I would end in Prague, maybe have a week off, and the next week I'm on the Rhone. I'm in Provence, you know, or I'm on the Douro or in Bordeaux. So I think it's kind of different times of year that I really like. So coming up to spring, like the really kind of warmth of spring is coming now. But maybe not in the UK, but at least elsewhere. I would have loved to be in Provence right now, you know, with the lavender fields. That would just be amazing. I'd like to be anywhere other than where I am now. But I would say then autumn, winter for the Danube and the Rhine are spectacular, because you have you know, just beautiful areas with the vineyards like we showed before. So you have the Wachau Valley, the Strudengau Valley, where, you know, all the vineyards there, everything's orange and red. You have the Christmas markets starting. So all of them. But I would say definitely autumn, Christmas would be 100% the Rhine and the Danube, especially just the Christmas markets. It's a magical time there.
Thank you. Somebody's asked the question, the bikes that you've got on board, can you just, instead of going on a guided tour, can you just take the bikes yourself?
Absolutely, yeah, no problem at all. So as long as the bikes aren't being used, you know, because we obviously use them for our excursions. But you know, if you want to just take a couple of bikes out, speak to the cruise manager the day before, we can reserve it for you. You can go out if you prefer not to do the bike tour. But at any other time, yeah, absolutely no problem at all. They're there for the use of the guests. So we have the helmets, we have everything, reflectors, the locks for the guests. So absolutely no problem.
Great. And somebody asked about the excursions, if you have to do them all. You did cover that actually, but yeah, the excursions are there for you to take advantage of. But if you wanted to go out and do your own thing, no problem at all. And as Nicki mentioned, you've got, you know, on this particular itinerary, you're in Budapest. You know, when you get there, you've got an overnight, so you've got opportunities to get off the ship and go and wander off and do your own thing. So if you arrive in the afternoon, you obviously got the captain's cocktail evening and that evening, but you've got a bit of free time there. So if you want to go and walk and go down Vartsuitzer and, you know, grab a coffee, do a bit of shopping, get a taxi, go to the Gala, have a nice spa, all of that's available. You know, you have got plenty of free time to do your own thing as well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and people can stay on the ship, like you said, not an issue. So maybe one day you just think, you know, yeah, I want to get a massage. I want to kind of swim in the pool a little bit and just maybe have a cocktail, read my book. Absolutely no problem, because as Rachel mentioned before, we are going through the heart of the country, and the scenery is beautiful, and we dock in these sometimes in these small towns, and maybe just to relax and just kind of soak up the scenery is absolutely no problem at all.
Brilliant. I'm just checking now. I think that's all the questions that we've had in. Yep, I think that's all the questions we've had. And no, Barry's been, oh, there you go, you're back. Hand up to you, Barry. Do you want to just...
Yeah, I'll just, from my side, I'd like to say thank you, obviously, to yourself and Nicki for hosting us today and doing this webinar. Some great information on the Melodies of the Danube, but also sharing with us some of the other cruises and regions that you go to. One thing I did want to say is that if people are interested in hearing and running a similar session in the future on any of those locations or particular cruises, then by all means do reach out to me. I'll actually, when I email out the slides and links, etc., hopefully this afternoon to you, if not tomorrow, then by all means do reply back and just say, yeah, we'd love to hear about the Nile or whatever it is, and we can talk to Rachel about setting that up. But yeah, just from me, thank you everybody for attending, and I'll hand back to Rachel and Nicki to do the final wrap up.
Yeah, thanks, Barry. So, you know, we'd love to see you all on board. Please get in touch with Barry if you've got any further questions and with any offers. We've also got a website. Barry's got his own AmaWaterways website. You can send you details of that. We can get information as well. So thank you from all of us for joining us today. Stay safe, and we hope to see you on board very, very soon. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Barry.
Thanks, Nicki. Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.